Hi, all. I'm really happy to be back this evening. And it's time, from my point of view, that what I've been working on for a very long time comes into reality. It's time that we move to the next level. I hope you bear with me because I want to take you on the beginning of a journey that I hope you will continue with me. Now, the first thing I need to say is that the vast majority of you who are there know that the program, the actual program itself, works. There is no question about it. And for those of you who've done it, know that when you do the program, it works. So we don't talk about that because that's not our issue. And what I've come to conclude is what's in the title of tonight's program: weight loss or weigh less. From my point of view, weight loss is a problem. And the reason weight loss is a problem is because of the fact that it's negative. Everything about it is negative. Now, first and foremost, you nor I nor anyone that you know can live without food. We all must have food. So this is not a question. The question is, what is it that we're dealing with so that we are here having a problem with weighing less? Now, point number one: weighing less is a choice. I want to weigh less. I'm an adult. I have a life. And I don't have to explain to you or to anyone else that I want to weigh less. Now, first, weight loss, survival, losing something, feeling deprivation. Negative kinds of things constantly attached. We've talked about week after week of being shamed, of being concerned, of feeling guilty. Now, if I want to lose weight, we've brought all these things in. Why should I feel guilty? Why should I feel change? Why should I feel all of the shame that goes along with it? Why do I have to justify? And the answer is because we come from a place that we haven't thought through, and we're ready now. And society is ready now. And the reason I say that, there are so many advances going on in so many areas that the entire world is changing over and above the insanity that the world has not learned to deal with and is happening again right now. So This insanity is going to disappear at some point in time. I don't want to deal with it. I want to deal with you I, and I want to deal with the fact that I started in this without being aware of the fact that although the word was weight loss, that came from Dr. Chu. Dr. Chu said to me, and we'll use his words, you cannot be a fat doctor who teaches people how to lose weight. And if you're going to be a doctor who's going to teach people, you have to lose weight. It was one of the most awful periods of time in my life. And the reason it was awful is because I didn't know it at the time, but I was basically hiding from the fact that I was unhappy with what it is that I was doing. And what I mean by that is, for 50 plus years, people were coming to see me. No one was coming to see me who was happy. And it impacted on me. And I hid from it by eating. I hid behind that food. It comforted me. It distracted me. It gave me something that I didn't even know how to verbalize. And that is, and I've learned since then, it's called burnout. Now, everything that I was doing was for a purpose, but everything that I was doing, it carried with it an emotional issue that was negative, was tearing me apart. People were successful on the program, but people were constantly complaining. And it's dawned to me in the very recent past that it's time for us to take the next step and go on a journey to learn. And what I want you to learn is that we can't live without food, so we have to live with it. And it's inevitable that we live with it. But if we carry with it all of the emotional components, then we're not going to be comfortable. We're not going to be at ease. We're not going to be able to live our lives in a manner in which it's good for us. So first, let me ask you the question. If we can't survive without food, let's accept the fact, and it's not a problem. Once I accept the fact that I must have food, it's not a problem, right? No, it's not right. And the reason is we've made it an issue. The moment I use the word lose, I go into a negative frame. And I have to justify what is true. I must eat. Now, if I must eat, why must I justify it? Why should I feel guilty? Why should I feel shame? And the answer is the thing in itself. How we're doing it, what we're doing, we don't accept it as part of life. weight loss then becomes a goal, and weighing less is ignored as a choice. I choose to weigh less. I choose to go outside. I choose to drive my car. I choose not to watch scary movies. By the way, I choose not to watch scary movies because they're unhealthy. They cause my cortisol levels and my stress levels to rise. And I use these things which are, I call them anti-people, to get excited by being scared to death. I'm not going to argue with people who want those kinds of things. I'm saying they're not for me because I am the most important person in my life. And I want to take care of me and I want to feel good. That doesn't stop me from wanting to help you and to create an atmosphere that is positive. So, number one, weighing less is a choice that you don't need to justify. Otherwise, everything you do has to be justified. We're going to let that phone ring now. Think of, I want to go to the movies. I now have to justify that. I want to, and I have to justify that. The answer is I don't. I want to weigh less. Stop. Say yes. I want to weigh less. I don't need to justify it. What I do need to do is accept the fact that for me to weigh less, I have to change. Who and what and where, that's not the issue. I recognize if I continue to do the things that I've been doing, my goal, which is to weigh less, will not be achieved. So therefore, I have to agree with myself that in order to weigh less, I need to change. Now, that's not so difficult because nothing is ever the same. Everything is always changing. Look at a race. The basic elements of the race are the same, but it's never the same because there are always minute differences. So if we accept the fact that change is not the problem, the first thing we have to do is say, my goal is, and because I choose it to be my goal, it's okay. I don't need to justify it. I just need to say, it's not a problem. It's a goal. It's not a problem. And the reason it's not a problem is because I know I can attain almost anything that I want to that's realistic. You can attain whatever you want if it's realistic, if you commit yourself to it and accept the fact that it's okay. So why the struggle? Let's look at it from a point of view why we do it. No, how we do it. What we haven't looked at is how we go about achieving our goal. Now, if I have to justify why I'm dealing with all kinds of hurdles that don't need to be there. That's for anything. I'm not saying why is not a question that should be asked. Why is that building leaning? Why is that wall blue? Those are fine questions. What I'm saying is, how did it get there? And if we learn how, it'll simplify everything. Now, one of the things that I learned when I first met Dr. Chu was that I could bury myself, my life, everything that was going on. I could bury it behind food. Because food is so powerful that it covered everything else. And in those days I was 6'2". I'm a little shorter now. Age has kind of compressed my spine. I became almost 300 pounds. I had no idea what was going on. I just knew that whenever certain experiences or emotions, there was no thought. I found something to put in my mouth. And what it did was simply cover everything up. I was blind, but I was manageable because I couldn't see. All I knew is this is a problem, comfort myself, comfort myself, comfort myself. I've since learned that it's called burnout. I had no idea in those days that it was. And now that I know what it is, I ask myself, how do I have to deal with it? Not why. And the reason I don't have to ask why, I don't know about you, but I know being that overweight is not good for me. And if I am important to me, I should be doing something that's good for me. Now, if I have to justify it, there's a question. I don't need to justify it. I made a choice. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with you. What you have to do is accept the fact that this is a choice that I made. I wish to weigh less. I want to weigh less. Step number one. Now, I've tried to take some notes and prepare for this because I want to take you on this journey with me. And this is really a journey because we're going to investigate and explore where we're going. And I'd like to start off by saying to you that I want you to join me in this journey. We're going from this end of the forest to that end of the forest. Don't ask why. Let's ask how. And the reason we're not asking why is because it's irrelevant. I want to go to the other side of the forest. We're here because we have the same goal. The proof is that you're here. The proof is that you're participating. The proof is that it's important enough to you to invest your time in doing this. So how we do it is important. Now, another point. How we do it is important, but that doesn't mean that how I do it is how you do it. And one of the things that we have to accept is that if I achieve my goal and you achieve your goal, why do we sit down and argue that your way is better than my way? I thought the process was to achieve the goal. Why are you sitting here? Unless your goal is you want to weigh less. And you want it to be positive. And that's why I want to get rid of weight loss and replace it with I want to weigh less. Now, the issue then is, one, we accept food is going to be part of our life. And we recognize, and that's what aculife is going to be all about, food has to be part of aculife. And the reason we've named it aculife is because you are the center. Everything revolves around you. And we have to recognize, and this is what we have to deal with, and I don't want any of us to have to go into therapy. I have nothing against therapy. I think therapy is wonderful. And I'm going to stop for a minute and I want to point something out to you. Some of you may have heard this story. I'll try to go through it quickly. I was working with a woman for 3 years, maybe 4. When she came in, she was severely depressed. We worked for a while. I thought we were making some progress. And then she disappeared for several months. When she returned, she told me she had a broken arm. We went back to work doing therapy, and several months later, she was gone again. When she returned, she had just recovered from a broken leg. This third time that she returned was after about 7 months, and she indicated to me that she had left because she had had a severe brain concussion, and it had taken her all this period of time to recover. She also revealed to me that her partner had broken her arm, broken her leg, and given her the concussion. And then she said to me, Dr. Schwartz, I'd like to cut short our session by about 5 minutes so that I could go downstairs and Frank will not have to wait for me. And I said, oh. And she said, Dr. Schwartz, you do not understand. When I do not get Frank angry, he is the most loving and caring person you will ever meet. Choice. I don't care what you say. She was free to make that choice. Whatever the reasons were, and we're not going to explore them, she continued to stay in that environment. Tell me it was not a choice. Let's get into the discussion why, and let's justify it. No, I'm sorry. She made that choice. She is responsible. Is it a terrible situation? Is it a crime? Should he be prosecuted? All those kinds of things. Once we get into that part of the conversation, we're lost. Right now, I want you to begin to make choices that make you the center of the world because you live with you. And when you live with you and like the you that you are, we're starting from a base that's wonderful because I can't escape me. And there are different parts of me. And there are different parts of you. But the me who's talking to you right now is in charge. The you who's listening to me is in charge. Are you alone? No. And don't ever tell me that you're alone. Because those voices are always there. They're all parts of you. What they come from, where they come from, are irrelevant. So, choice number one. I choose to weigh less. Now, I've decided I want to go on vacation. It's a choice. And I want to go to a warm, sunny place where I can relax, be comfortable. You decide that you'd like to go on vacation. How is the only important thing. First thing is, I want to go on vacation. Are you permitted to say, I want to go on vacation? Once you agree that it's what you want, your choice, all the other pieces fall into place. When you go, why you go, where you go, how you go, all those pieces are there to achieve that goal. I want to get there. Now, what is it about us that we have to justify what it is that we do? In none of the examples that I've given you Was I hurting anyone? Was I abusing anyone? These were my choices for me. Now, you have an opinion, and this is part of the problem. I have an opinion. My opinion is different than your opinion. Now, depending upon what it is, but let's choose this, it's not something that I'm that well versed in, and it's not something that you're that versed well in. But we both have an opinion, and my opinion is different than your opinion. So far, there's no problem. But here is the problem. I've decided that I'm right. You know what the problem is? If I'm right, you've got to be wrong. The possibility of us learning from each other and growing is almost zero, because I, in my discussion with you, and you in your discussion with me, are going to try to tug of war, pull you over to my side, because I'm right and therefore you're wrong. And you're going to try to pull me over to your side because you want me to be wrong, which makes you right. Now, I want to lose weight. Now I have to justify it. I want to weigh less. I don't have to justify it anymore. I just have to agree within myself it's something. Now, one of the reasons we changed the name of the company, by the way, was just that reason. Now we no longer have to justify. I put you in the middle. You're the center of the world. Let's now deal with the psychological aspects of it. Now, once we accept there is a struggle, we have two choices: accept or get into a fight. Weight loss is the struggle. Losing weight is not a struggle, it's a choice. And the only thing we need to focus on then is not why do I want to lose weight, but how can I lose weight? One of the interesting things that I found over the years, and remember, I used to be a psychologist doing therapy. And I was working in a low income area doing Medicare and Medicaid. And there was the two women living together. And they seemed to be arguing and fighting all the time. And I sat down with them voluntarily, and we had a discussion, and both had decided to live together, but they were constantly arguing about money. This one was a spendthrift, and this one was more controlling of their money. And each of them started out with an amount of money. It made no difference. And I asked them how much they had. This one said $10. This one said $20. And I said to the one with $20, you are constantly fighting with your friend who has $10. Let me ask you a question. Trust me, give her one of your $20. And she said, I'll only have 19. I said, yes. And she'll have 11. We had a discussion, and she gave her friend $1. The next week, we had the same discussion. And again, I said, give her $1. And this went on for several weeks. And this week, there was resistance. And I said, what's going on? She says, well, I used to have $20. Now I only have 19. And I said, has it had a major impact on your life? And she said, no. What's going on between the two of you? And they agreed that things were slightly better. And the reason they were slightly better is because one had given something to the other, and that transference of whatever the power of money is cooled down the relationship. I'm asking you to weigh less. Now, what's your thought? Okay, I want to weigh less. So let's talk about how it's going to impact on us, rather than justifying and having to deal with the emotions. Think of all the guilt that we throw away. Think of all the shame that we throw away. And think of what I call the incredible capacity of humans. I think I told you, woman has lost 116 pounds on the program. She comes into the office and she's very upset. And I said, why are you upset? She said, I was in the supermarket and this woman that I haven't seen in 2 years came up to me and said, you have cancer? And I didn't know what to say. Now, when this woman said to her, do you have cancer? She forgot how she got there, how she felt, the reason she did it. I looked at her, she looked at her, and I said, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? A woman who's been ill? And she said, no. How do you feel in clothes? You know, I like it. I said, yes, I understand. We may be talking about some surgery to get rid of the excess skin, but that's going to be under your clothes. Anybody going to see it other than you? She said, no. When you look in the mirror, how do you feel? She said, you know, I feel wonderful. Then what happened? What was going on in that other woman's mind? Where are people? What are they thinking? Food sustains us. Let's accept it. Now, the key here is to understand that we have to deal with the how. If we deal with how we do it, we're going to achieve our goal because we don't need to justify anything that we do. For example, aculife is a 3-phase program. I want to weigh less. I have to do something to weigh less. We promise 15 pounds every 30 days. And phase 1 is to weigh less. So I have to do things to weigh less. Now, the holidays are coming up. Kids are going to be off from school. I'm going to have 2 weeks, and I'm making up whatever it is. And I have decided that I mentally am not prepared. I've been tied up with pandemic, whatever. And so now I come to Dr. Schwartz and I say, how do I deal with what's going on in my life? Now remember step 1. She's asking me how. She's not asking herself how. And she can't ask herself how until she defines her goal. What is it that she wants? Don't tell me to weigh less. Remember, she agreed. Now, no. Yes, in the back of my mind, to weigh less is my choice. But right now, I don't want to do what I have to do in order to weigh less. Okay? I don't have to do, and the reason is it's my choice. Correct? Okay. Now, I say to her, we have 2 choices now. We can simply drop everything and do whatever we like, or we can do something in the middle. She said, no, I can't just throw everything away. I said, okay, you've made a choice. That's not your choice. Well, what else can I do? How about going to phase 2? But I didn't finish phase 1. I agree, you didn't finish phase 1. What do you want? I want not to give up what I've gained. I don't want to give up the weight that I've lost. Okay, now we have a choice. How do we do it? And we do it by going on to phase 2. We learn all about phase 2. It works. The period of time has ended. The person goes back to phase 1 to complete it, to integrate it so that it's a totality, not a piece. Remember where we're starting? How I live is the question, not why do I do it. What your goal is what's important. What we need to do is to clarify these goals and recognize it's a choice. And you have the ability to choose. If you free yourself, there is so much more out there beyond anything you can imagine, because the development of things in the personal medical fields are erupting. Did you know that there are methodologies now that could increase your lifespan in a healthy kind of way? 10 years. Did you know there are programs out there, not pharmaceutical programs out there that can turn your body back 20, 25 years from a functional point of view? And there's more coming. I had a patient call me on the phone a few hours ago. She's doing very well on the program, but there are some circumstances going on within her family, and she's been unable to breathe comfortably and can't sleep. She does not want to go on sleeping pills. So I went over the Qigong breathing with her. I told her about valerian tea, and I suggested to her that she get some lavender extract and put 2 or 3 drops on her pillow before she goes to sleep. That was last week. She called me on the phone today to say she was feeling less anxious. Her breathing was better, and she had some terrific night's sleep. She made a choice. She made herself important and asked for help. And that's what we here are all about. I will do it differently than you do it. You will do it differently than I do it. Our issue is to achieve our goal. I want to weigh less, and then I want to maintain my weight. If my methodology is different than your methodology, what's the problem? I want to get to California by going through Mexico. You want to get to California by taking Route 95 all the way. The Route 80 all the way. Is it an issue? I think my way is better than your way. Okay. That's okay with me. Your way for you is better than your way. Do I have to agree that my way is anything other than different than your way? It makes no difference. It doesn't have an impact. But I could learn something from you, and you could learn something from me. And together we can grow and build a quality of life that takes us out of the shame and the guilt and integrates all of this into a plan which makes you better, younger, more vital. What's not happening is I am being the hunter, so to speak. I've spoken to quite a few people over the week. I've the ones on remote, and we took care of the weight part of the program. And then I've said, can we talk? And in every case, it's been, can I have 15 or 20 minutes and let's explore this? And questions are coming up about quality of life. Not one person that I spoke to did not want to weigh less. Every single one of them had a problem when we talked about weight loss. And the problems seemed to minimize themselves the moment we saw it as a choice, the moment we saw it as a goal, the moment that we discussed different kinds of things and how to integrate it into our lives and to learn more about it. I want to continue on this journey. I want to weigh less as an integral part of something that's going to be my lifestyle and something is going to be your lifestyle. I don't want to ever have to go on a diet again. Will I do my detox once or twice a year? Of course. Are you going to take your car in for a tune-up once or twice a year? Of course. Do I have to justify my taking my car in once or twice a year? And things are going to improve. Our world is changing, people. Now that they've invented a battery that's small, okay? Electric vehicles, before you turn around, are going to take over. And the reason they're going to take over is because they don't have parts. They're cheaper to run. And if you can just plug it in and start it up, the world is changing. Let's change together. Let's commit to a journey. I want to weigh less. Goal, how? I don't want to be a loser. Talk to you soon. 973-243-0777. 973-243-0777. Just call, drop your name. I'll call you. We'll talk about anything. Key, how. Take care. Thanks for being here. Hi, Julie.